Hey guys, and how about we watch a death battle, Gaara vs Toph. So as always, I'll be watching the entire thing, so if you'd like to avoid spoilers, and because you should support them first, go to the official release here, like, comment, subscribe to Screw Attack, all that good stuff, then come back here and we'll watch it together. So Gaara vs Toph, this is actually the one that I've been excited about for quite a while. Like me personally, it's the only one that I would have ever... You know, if people asked, what death battle do you want to see? That's the only answer I ever gave. I never requested it, but that was the only answer I ever gave. But just in the time that I watched Naruto, I didn't watch all of it. In the time that I watched Avatar, I didn't watch all of it. I really liked the characters Gaara and Toph. And, you know, from what I knew of Death Battle, and again from his suggestion, they seemed like they could be combatants enough, you know, they were similar enough, and just liking the characters, it would have been cool to see them clash. And now I get to. So while I do know both of these characters, I won't say that I know them to the extent that Death Battle requires, because in Death Battle, you really have to know each character really super well. And beyond that, you have to be able to compare them, like, without bias, which is quite difficult to do. From what I know of them though, I think that Gaara is going to win this one. I like Toph better, but I think that Gaara is going to win. I think that he's more powerful and that he has more that he can do. Like, granted, he can only control sand, but, you know, he's essentially a sandbender. He's really powerful. Beyond that, the sand automatically protects him, like, as best as it can. Really, you have to be really fast, I think, in order to hit him. Like, he tried to hurt himself, and the sand stopped him, so... yeah, that's a defense right there. Toph, meanwhile, while young and super awesome, is blind, and that kind of impedes some things. Like, she sees through the vibrations in the earth, but that would require there to be vibrations in the earth. One thing I've been thinking is that I'm pretty sure I've seen Gaara fly using the sand before. That would make it much more difficult to track. And I thought I read somewhere, like in multiple comments, that Toph can sandbend, that she learned how to sandbend. The last episode that I remember seeing with her involving sand, she could not, and it was a really touching, awesome episode. But even if you can sandbend, it doesn't mean that the sand won't hurt you, you know? Like, there have been earthbenders fighting earthbenders, and if a rock gets thrown at them and they get hit by the rock, it's still gonna hurt. So I don't think that saying that Toph is also a sandbender, that she can bend sand, like, negates Gaara's abilities. So yeah, right now, I'm thinking that Gaara's gonna win this one. I think that Gaara has this one. I would love it if Toph were to win this one. And so I'm hoping that more happen kind of in future Avatar episodes that I just hadn't seen, that kind of made her awesome. Again, I love Gaara too, but Toph is special. So fingers crossed for Toph, but I'm not gonna say anything for sure until after the analyses. So with that said, let's get to watching.
Try Squarespace.
All right, so
Squarespace.com
advertisement before.
Screw Attack and instantly get 10% off. I'm making Boomstick rules #1.com for obvious reasons.
Obviously. Interesting. How they didn't do that between the analyses and the battle. Wonder if that's gonna be a consistent thing.
Throughout Death Battle, we've seen all manner of weapons and abilities, but these two combatants command the very earth around them.
Right.
Gaia of the desert.
And Toph Beifong, the blind bandit.
He's Wiz and I'm Boomstick.
I really am
And
so
it's
excited
our
to
job
watch
to
this.
analyze their weapons, armor, and skills to find out who
They're
would
so cool.
win a death battle.
Alright, here we go.
Gaia of the Desert is a short, skinny, pale
Did he roll his
stick of a
tongue?
kid,
Like
but he's
ours? I
also
don't
one
know.
of the deadliest shinobi in the world.
He looks like a member of Green Day.
Gaia is the son of the fourth Kazekage, leader of the village hidden in the sand. Born prematurely at the cost of his mother's life,
He's so
Gaia was
tiny.
destined for a childhood of depression and loneliness from the get-go.
Aw.
Not even a minute old and already has a kill under his belt. Oh, technically he had a little help. Because, you see, as he was being born, his father was like, "Hey, you know what would be awesome? Using ninja magic to seal a horrible monster in my son's belly to turn him into an ultimate weapon."
Wow. Yeah. I forget what it was. Like a raccoon, was it?
The process was
Tanuki?
successful,
No.
and Gaia became a Jinchuriki, human beings who have powerful tailed beasts trapped within them. Gaia's beast was Shukaku, a giant tanuki with
Tanuki.
power over
Heck
sand.
yeah.
Oh, I want a tanuki as a pet.
Oh,
They're
they're so cute.
fluffy and adorable. You just want to hug. Holy shit, what is that?
That's right.
Shukaku loathed humanity, and at first, Gaia had difficulty controlling the monster's rage, accidentally hurting others. As such, he was shunned by his own people, forced to live a secluded life.
Poor guy.
Well, yeah, I mean, he's got a goddamn tummy monster. It's not like Pepto-Bismol solving that.
Convinced his only option was to fight and care for only himself, Gaia became a ruthless killing machine.
But it's not all bad. Having a digestive desert demon gives him control over all things sand. He can wield it as a weapon using his mind to trap and crush his foes.
Yep.
Oh, and he can also use it to freaking fly. How the hell does that work?
I told you.
He can
I knew
mentally
it.
adjust the density of his sand, whether it needs to be lighter than air or stronger than steel. He can even use it to stop bombs powerful enough to wipe out an entire village. He can control any sand in his vicinity using his chakra, a spiritual energy shinobi access for superhuman abilities, such as walking up a tree.
This guy is like the ultimate emo kid. But I'm not gonna give him too much crap, because he can use existing sand to crush the ground around him for even more
Yes.
sand. So he's never without easy access to ammo.
Oh, good.
Despite
Wow.
this,
That's
he
a lot
still
of sand.
carries a gigantic gourd of sand on his back.
It's huge. You'd think that'd be hard on his spine. Interestingly enough, its unique shape and size is a reference to how in Japanese folklore, tanukis were considered to be so well endowed they'd have to sling their testicles over their shoulders.
Awesome.
What?
But the thing is, Gaara's gourd is not
Oh.
carrying any ordinary testicles. I mean sand. Gaara has infused his own chakra into the gourd sand.
This directly links it to Gaara, making it much easier for him to control. He's so skilled with it, he can even forge weapons from it, bury people underground, or send it into another person's bloodstream and control them like some sort
Oh.
of puppet. Talk about an itch you're not
what?
gonna scratch.
That would hurt like
Also,
crap,
Gaara
wouldn't it?
eventually battled and defeated his own father, who happened to be a zombie at the time. His father used a magnetic release ability to control gold dust, much like Gaara does sand.
Even though he can't do the zombie dad magnet thing,
That's a lot of gold
Gaara
dust.
added gold dust to his gourd sand anyway, giving him more control over its weight.
But wait, there's more.
Okay,
With
waiting.
her dying breath, Gaara's mother somehow imparted her own power into this sand. It became living sand, an extension of her will, determined to follow and protect Gaara. It will spring from the gourd to defend him from
love
any
that fight so
danger,
much. That
regardless
was a
of
great
risk and
fight.
without command.
This absolute defensive technique is called the absolute defense. Pretty
Ah,
good name, really.
yeah.
Gaara's sand is so dense and fast, only someone who can move nearly the speed of sound can pass it.
Gaara can also use
Pretty sure
everyday
doesn't mean
sand to
tough.
create defenses such as his sand armor, which encases him in a shell to soften blows. Unlike his automatic absolute defense, the sand armor is self-created and requires a large amount of his chakra to maintain.
Gaara's skill with sand is only limited by how much chakra he's got left in his system. After running low, he could tag out and give Shukaku a turn fighting, until a group of crazy
Pretty
people
powerful.
literally pulled the sand monster from his body for good. That must have hurt. It's gotta be like twice as bad as the night after Chipotle.
Died.
Oh, the same
Yeah.
then.
Turns out losing Shukaku was actually a blessing in disguise.
Oh.
After being resurrected, Gaara spent some time reevaluating his emotional roller coaster of a life. Inspired by Naruto Uzumaki, he began to truly understand compassion. His attitude changed. His people began supporting him. He even commanded the allied shinobi forces during the Fourth Great Shinobi War.
Wow,
And
that's impressive.
like his late father, Gaara also became
A zombie?
Kazekage.
Damn! Well,
for him,
even
leader,
non-zombie
yeah.
and missing Shukaku, Gaara still retained his powerful
15?
chakra and skill over
Oh,
sand.
jeez. Okay.
In their fight, Gaara was so powerful, his father mistook him for Shukaku itself, despite the sand monster being long gone.
Gaara is stronger and smarter than ever, all thanks to his mother's love. I miss
Aw.
Mama Boomstick.
Few can withstand
Aw,
the
poor
overwhelming
Boomstick.
power of this sand shinobi. Or Mama Boomstick's cooking.
Hey! You're uninvited to Thanksgiving.
I never
Bye.
was.
Exactly.
Hey, look. It's Gaara. Their faces. That was a good show. That was a good show.
As the only child of the wealthy Beifong family, Toph was kept a secret from the rest of the world. Hidden away, she was pampered and guarded like a fragile child. Her parents were hopeful she could someday become a noble, respected member of Earth Kingdom society.
But
But
no.
their hopes were pretty much dashed from the moment she popped out. See those faded whites? Yeah, Toph's completely blind.
My daughter is blind. She is blind and tiny and helpless and fragile.
Still,
Aw.
fragile is the last word that I would want to use to describe this chick.
Frustrated by her parents' stubborn coddling, Toph ran away from home at the age of 6 and ended up losing her way in a cave.
Oh.
Until
She's
she
in
was
Gaara, that's cool.
rescued by some giant badger moles. Yes, they are badgers. And they are moles.
Whoa.
Imagine one of those things burrowing into your home. What kind of pest control do you even call for that? Oh wait, I know. Fire.
Like Toph, badger moles are blind, so they took a liking to her.
How the hell would they know?
And as the original
Exactly.
artist of the craft, the badger moles began her training in the art of earthbending.
Oh, is that... I didn't know how she
These
started.
giant
That's
varmints
awesome.
taught Toph how to manipulate rock and stone. Using movement similar to the true Gaia praying mantis martial art, Toph can telekinetically throw, grow, shrink, and alter Earth in any conceivable way, making for some pretty down-to-earth attacks and defenses.
That is awesome.
The badger moles also taught Toph how to see.
Wait, these ridiculous creatures are also masters of LASIK surgery?
No, Toph does not use her eyes to see. Of course, her other senses are extremely accurate, and as a master earthbender, Toph can sense the location of Earth anywhere. Even more impressive,
Earth
though,
anywhere?
the badger moles navigate their tunnels using an earthbending technique known as the seismic sense, and Toph quickly picked up on this talent. It's kind of like sonar, detecting the exact location and movement of a person or object through their interaction with the ground.
Right, I knew
I
that bit.
feel the vibrations in the earth, and I can see where everything is. You, that tree, even those ants.
She
It's
feels
very
every
good.
movement, every footstep, every heartbeat, so precisely she can even tell if a person's lying.
A woman who can
Whoa.
always tell when I'm lying? No, thank you. Toph is so good at this that even her closest friends sometimes forget she's blind.
Sorry.
But don't worry, they're reminded. In only 6 years, Toph had completely mastered earthbending. She even won the Earth Rumble 4 tournament multiple times under her stage name, the Blind Bandit.
But Toph didn't stop her training with just earthbending.
Of course
At
not.
first, softer earth proved difficult for her seismic sense.
That was the episode. I loved
Feel
that
the
episode. It was so
vibrations in
touching.
the ground with my feet, but the sand is so loose and shifty. It makes everything look fuzzy.
But she has since demonstrated her mastery in both sand bending and mud bending. She can also change the density of earth from sand to stone and back. And
Oh.
before you start making any density or hardening innuendos, she's 12.
Okay. But her greatest achievement is the discovery of an all-new bending art, one thought to be impossible.
Metal bending.
Metal bending.
Right.
By manipulating the earthy composition within, Toph can bend nearly any type of metal just as well as stone, the exception being highly purified metals such as platinum.
Toph quickly mastered metal bending and went on to teach it to others.
Whoa, I
She
don't know that.
eventually even founded and led a metal bending police force.
And
Impressive.
that's after conquering Earth Rumble 4, holding up a building the size of a castle, defeating an entire army almost single-handedly, and dueling King Boomy to a standstill. And that guy's conquered an entire hostile city by himself.
Even in her old age, Toph was capable of going one-on-one with a new avatar, and her seismic sense could locate people across the world.
She knows
Across
when
the
I've
world.
lied and where I've been. Women should not have these powers.
I am the greatest earthbender in the world. Don't you two dunderheads ever forget it.
Okay. This became more difficult.
All right, the combatants are set.
Since they had the commercial at the beginning, I don't think they're gonna have it in the
It's
middle.
time for a
So I'm gonna
death
pause.
battle!
And pause. Okay, talking about this. Oh, this is gonna be difficult. Okay, so initially I was thinking for sure Gaara was going to win, and they did talk about a lot of impressive things that Gaara can do. However, they also mentioned more that Toph could do that I did not know she could do. Unless I'm just misinterpreting it, I know they said that she can sense any Earth, and with the picture, I guess, the video that they were showing at the time, I also imagined that that meant Earth that was not on the ground, you know, Earth that was in the air. And we did see how, like, they threw, you know, some dude threw rocks at her, and she knew exactly when to block them or to whatever. And so I'm thinking now that she can see Earth that's in the air too, and that would include Gaara's sand. Okay, there's that. Now, while I did say that, like, you know, if you get hit by a rock, it's still gonna hurt as an earthbender, and I'm still holding to that. However, I will concede that if you could deflect it, or, you know, do something, you know, along those lines, that, yeah, you can redirect it, or essentially, you're not immune, but you have a way to deal with it. That's what I'm thinking now. And so I do think that with Toph's sandbending, it would be possible for her to actually counter Gaara's, like, really only means of attack. I did know, it just didn't, you know, come to mind, that Gaara could, like, change the density of the sand to make it super hard, because I remember from the anime, you know, watching in those, like, you know, tuning trials or the exams, I didn't realize that Toph could do all of that as instantly, at least. I also didn't know that she could, well, I knew she could metal bend. I didn't know she could, like, roll into a door and have it become a suit of armor. Like, that's pretty cool. I hope that she can breathe in it. I didn't think about that until just now, but, you know, anime logic, right? Even though that's not an anime technically. Well, I think it's obvious they're going to use, like, the younger versions of the characters. I think that they are going to apply the older characters' abilities, because why else would they talk about them? You know, like young Gaara versus, like, Kazekage Gaara, the Shippuden Gaara, you know, young Toph versus the old Toph. I don't think they would talk about those abilities if they weren't going to use them. And so, with all of this, I think that Toph actually is more versatile. If she can sense everything, even what's not on the ground, then I think she definitely has, you know, like, a leg up on that. Gaara can do a lot with the sand, you know, he can, like, get infinite sand and all that, but Toph can use whatever's around her as well. She has all these different defensive techniques. She can form the stone or whatever how she wants to. She doesn't have to, like, attack, you know, starting from her into whatever the opponent is. You know, she could send a rock that's clear over there, spiking up into him. So, that kind of thing. Maybe Gaara can too, but I don't remember them mentioning that, and so I'm going to assume that he cannot for now. I actually think now that Toph is going to win. I think that, well, she's a lot more versatile, a lot more powerful than I at least had known. So, you know, even though Gaara is still super powerful, even though he's one of the most deadly shinobi, or whatever you want to call it, I think that Toph might actually have this one, which makes me happy, because again, I prefer her over Gaara. Gaara's awesome, I prefer Toph. So, I'm going to decide on that. Yeah, Toph is going to win this death battle. So, with that said, play. Okay, here we go. It's one way to make an entrance.
Talk about a rough ride.
You do not belong here. This is sacred ground. Leave.
Oh, also, I met the voice actress who's
Oh,
playing
yeah,
Toph
tough
right
guy?
now. Just saying.
Make me.
Alright, you got this, Toph.
Yeah.
That is impressive, Sam. Almost done.
Interesting.
That was cool.
She commands stone as fluently as I control sand.
By the way, I can tell you're using your sand to smash up the ground underneath us for more ammo. Pretty smart for a sand. Too bad I'm gonna kick your butt before you can use any of it.
I can't underestimate her.
Yeah.
I'm just enjoying myself.
I need time.
I feel like she could penetrate that, though. What?
Whoa!
Yeah.
Sorry, Grumpy.
I remember that from
I'm not ready to
Sasuke.
be a shish kebab just yet.
She's gonna send. Oh! And it's still there. Send a spike up through the ground,
Come on.
Toph! Through
Are
the
you
ground!
really that scared of a little blind girl?
Spike!
I'm
Spike!
touched.
Toph! Quickly! Fair enough. Okay. Not quite what I. But
Your
fair enough.
eyes. Those are not the eyes of loneliness, like mine.
No, she's blind.
They are blank.
Impressive insight, Gloomsville. I'm digging the whole wearing sand thing, though. That's new.
Ow! What about exactly his blind this time? Don't squeeze her! Don't squeeze her!
Use your arms to control the earth. I will remove them.
Okay, good.
Dream on, creep. It'll take a lot more sand than that to take me down.
That's the plan.
It's a lot of sand.
Oh, crap.
Well?
Sun coffin. Sun burial.
Ooh. Let's see, that's usually
It
like
is
a
done.
KO. Usually! Haha!
Jeez, I almost felt that.
That's impossible.
You kidding? Pay attention, Sandy. I'm about to school you.
It's not any of either of them though. Gaara's not dead. What? Oh, okay.
Gotcha.
Oh, is she bending his sand armor? Oh!
That's how it's done.
Yeah, it's off!
God damn son of a shit weasel! Why did another anime character have to lose?
Yeah, but here's why. Gaara's sand is monstrous, and its speed and power could easily obliterate most foes. But with Toph, it's another story.
Really? She's friggin' blind, for God's sakes, and he can fly!
Oh ho ho! In
we
the
go.
official behind-the-scenes extras of the Avatar Book 2 DVD, we found this. Toph can feel the earth,
Yes!
even if it isn't connected to the ground.
That's awesome!
Toph is tough, but her real strength lies in her precision and technique. With her earthbending and seismic sense, she could see Gaara's attacks coming the instant they began, regardless of if he was in the air.
While Gaara's chakra-infused sand is controlled by his late
game-changing.
mother, it's still sand. Just like in an earthbending duel, Toph was able to influence it long enough to misdirect or block attacks. Also remember, Gaara added his father's gold dust to the mix, giving Toph 2 different bending options just in case.
Oh.
Unlike platinum, gold contains traces of iron and copper, and can be metal bent.
To top this off, Gaara keeps himself covered in his sand armor, so Toph could
Is he
always
at all
sense where he
times?
was.
And it's specifically stated that the sand armor uses up large amounts of Gaara's own chakra, not his mother's sand. So, when he ran low on chakra, it became difficult to maintain. Thus, Toph had no problem turning Gaara's greatest defense into his worst weakness.
Oh.
Gaara couldn't stand up to Toph. I know you're floored. I really ground that one in, didn't I?
Oh,
What can I
Boomstick.
say? It's my earthly delight.
The winner.
It's kind of
is
impressive
Toph
how it
Faith.
kept going.
No need
Perhaps
to
for
grapple
Toph.
about it. Can't we just bury the hatchet? I'm out.
Top. That was
Next
for top.
time on Death Battle.
Okay, also with this next time, I did already watch it because on the preview, I skipped through the battle. I didn't want to see any of the battle, but I did watch this. So, here it is.
Next time on Death Battle.
Next time, I like that. Samus versus Boba. Oh, okay. Bounty Hunter. Versus Bounty. There we go. I was waiting for that. So they're gonna redo it. Is that how it's gonna look? That's pretty awesome, actually. Wow, yeah, no, if that's how it's gonna look, that's gonna be really sweet. And they're introducing Zero into it, remastered. Okay, that'll be cool. Remastered. Here it is. That was. Oh, look,
If you guys
Desk
enjoyed
of
the
Death
episode,
Battle
please
and
like,
Disorder,
share it
which
with
is
your
available
friends,
now on
argue,
Steam.
and subscribe. It really helps us out.
If you'd like, you can
And
click on
if
these
you want more
videos, by the way, and go to
entertainment
those
right now,
videos.
why don't you
Annotations,
listen to
yeah.
Jocelyn talk about Star Fox and some other interesting things she does on her show. Go to the Desk of Death Battle. Click it right there. And don't forget to buy Disorder. It's our game and it's on Steam and it's really
Okay.
cool, but you kind of have to play it to understand it. So go do that and I'll be happy and still have a job.
Oh, good. We would like Boomstick to still have a job, right? Yay.
If you need a website, then look no further than Squarespace.
Oh, another
I'm not
Squarespace
kidding.
ad.
If this wasn't the best way to create your own website, then why would Jeff Bridges, yes, the dude himself, use it? That's right. Jeff Bridges created the website dreamingwithjeff.com, where you can listen to his album of unique and relaxing sounds to lull you to sleep. And it's all thanks to Squarespace. No idea is too far out. Go to squarespace.com/screwattack to get 10% off and bring your idea to life. I really wasn't kidding about the whole Jeff Bridges thing. Seriously, click
That's
the
kinda
dude
cool.
and watch it now.
All right. So you could do that, I guess. Yeah, let's get to talking about it. First, before I touch on the actual battle itself, I want to talk about the next time, or when I watched it, it was the next time. I didn't realize at first that it was actually showing, like, clips from the battle. I assumed they were clips pulled from different games or things like that. So I have to say, I'm excited for this. Obviously, we know the outcome already. This is a remastered edition, not a rematch. You know, it's a remake, not a rematch. And so I know who's going to win and everything, but they might switch up how the person wins, like in terms of the battle that we get to see. And even if they don't, it looks amazing. Like the quality of that, like, I don't know what to call that style, but I think it looks really cool. I'm hoping that it does turn out really cool, because if it does, you know, it'll be an awesome death battle. If not, it will be slightly disappointing. But still, kudos to them for taking that jump, you know, like that's a big leap. That animator must be working hard. Now about Gaara versus Toph. I'm glad I was actually right, you know? At the beginning, I really did think that Gaara was going to win, but one of the biggest reasons that I did think that was because I thought Toph could only sense through the ground, and so I thought, well, if he's just in the air or uses any of his aerial attacks, Toph is kind of in trouble. So, you know, once I saw from the analyses that Toph could actually see rocks that were, like, not connected to the ground, that made a big difference. Aside from that, just the whole versatility of everything. Gaara, yes, still a deadly fighter, but Toph against Gaara, not necessarily against anyone who could also beat Gaara. You know, she was good enough, so I liked this battle. It was really nice to see two characters that I knew, that I liked, that I had enjoyed watching, you know, during their respective shows. It was nice to see them actually meet and be able to duke it out. Beyond that, I'm happy with the result, not only because Toph won and I liked her more, but because I am satisfied with the conclusion. I am satisfied with the reasonings that they gave. So, yes, good death battle. The voice acting struck me as odd, almost not quite appropriate. Now, I understand that you can't get the exact voice actors, and, you know, if you get another voice actor, you can't get the exact voice, and I know that Kira is successful at least. I'm pretty sure that both of those voice actors are very successful in what they do. However, from what I remembered of their voices, they didn't exactly sound a ton like the characters. So that was a bit distracting for me. It actually took me out of the battle just a little bit. But, you know, still, kudos to them. They did a good enough job. Again, you can't expect perfection because you can't always get a voice that's exactly like the character. You have to, you know, sometimes you just kind of have to settle. But yeah, it was one of those things where it took me out for a minute, but, you know, they did a better job than I could have done, so hey, kudos to them anyway. The sprite work was nice. I really liked this animation. A lot of times 2D sprites can almost seem, not necessarily to me, but they can almost seem, I guess you have to try harder to make them as cool as a 3D animation, just because of the style, you know, like 3D is obviously more popping. You know, with 2D, you have to have a lot of, like, fast-paced stuff that is still, like, relevant, and it's, you know, good timing and all of that. I thought that they did a really good job with this battle and showcasing the two characters' skills and abilities and all that. I like the sprites themselves of the characters. I think, you know, whoever created them did a good job. I thought that the particle effect of the sand, you know, however you want to call that, was actually pretty impressive. Maybe it's simple, you know, more simple than I imagine, but it seems like it would be difficult to me to actually have, you know, like realistic sand effects in a 2D animation. So, you know, I was impressed by that. From what I can remember of the characters, from what I ever knew about them, I thought they did a pretty good job of the personalities with the banter and whatnot. Again, I was a little pulled away, a little distracted by the voice acting because it wasn't my favorite in a death battle episode. But I did at least like that they did maintain who the characters were. The analyses I enjoyed because they were very, you know, factual, they're very informational. I felt like I did learn a lot about both of the characters. It certainly wasn't the most funny of analyses in all the death battles that I've seen, but I was satisfied with it. It definitely gave me information that I didn't know before, that helped me better evaluate the two combatants, and I appreciate that in a death battle because oftentimes I don't get that. Or if I do get it, I don't realize that I've gotten it, you know? Like until they clarify in the conclusion the strength of something or whatever. But this one, maybe it wasn't super clear. Maybe I got lucky, but I actually pulled the information that I needed to out of it. So that was good. Not to say that there weren't funny parts in these analyses, because, you know, like Boomstick with the Tanuki and with, you know, Boomstick's mom and all that, I laughed at those. Those were funny. I think because Ragna versus Soul is so recent, so fresh in my mind, and those analyses were just utterly hilarious, I thought. So this one, it didn't quite live up to it, but that's okay. That's okay. I personally enjoyed this episode, and I'm quite happy with the results. So let me know what you thought about it, but when you're leaving your comments, make sure that you be kind. Don't spout all this stuff about bias, you know, Wiz and Boomstick. Don't say that, you know, like, one group sucks because they like this character or whatever. Be nice, be civil, just tell me what you think, you know? It's a completely different thing than being offensive, and you should learn the difference. So with all that, thanks for watching! I hope you enjoyed that, and if you did, of course, feel free to leave a like, comment, and if you're new, even subscribe. It means a lot, it really helps me out, and I would love to have you guys. So, tune in next time for my next video. Until then, take care. Cue outro, go!